Sticks and stones will break my bones. Always will be true. And when your mom was dead and gone.
İkinizi de ayırmak istemiyorum. Anlıyor musun beni? Filip'i de yanıma alacağım. Ben gerekli ayarlamaları yapacağım. Sen kendi işinin patronu gibi hissedeceksin.
Being a teacher here in Turkey, having the support of Bilkent University, being able to implement very international programs really kind of inspires me. So I can really say that Turkey now is my second home in a real way. And as my wife says, I'm kind of an in-law. Well, being here in Turkey for 13 years has given me a lot, actually. It's given me more exposure to international theater. And I think because of the location of Turkey and the festivals that Turkey has, the Devlet Tiyatro Festival, the Sabancı Festival in Adana, they're bringing international directors, really kind of exposed me to more world theater being here. You know, you think because I'm an American that I've seen a lot of theater. Well, I've seen a lot of American theater. And being in New York, I actually saw a lot of great international productions, including Ingmar Bergman's productions, Peter Brook's production, Pina Bausch's productions. So I was exposed to them, but I was exposed to more smaller international companies being here in Turkey. And of course, the Turkish theater. Seeing one of the biggest impressive things to me being here in Turkey is how much Turks do a lot of Western theater. And I think that's a big credit to the Devlet Tiyatro. In its golden age, I've heard that they were kind of translating plays that were done on Broadway and performing them in like a few months here in Turkey. So they had this connection with Western theater, in particular American theater, from a very early time. And I think this goes to kind of the founding of Devlet Tiyatro and the idea that Atatürk had for the Devlet Tiyatro, which was a means to kind of spread world culture to all of Turkey. And I think that that's a really brilliant idea, using theater to enable kind of education. And I think that's why the Turkish Devlet Tiyatro is so unique and very big. It's actually very important here in Turkey. And it's very impressive.
Nasıl sarıldı ama. Nasıl sarıldı kucağımda, nasıl ağladı ama. Keşke öpseydim ben. Belki de ben çocuğa bir şey yaptım. Olanlar benim suçum muydu?
I think it's changed pretty dramatically. I think it starts in the education. I think the schools now are kind of shifting away from this kind of old school style training, and they're embracing more of a global kind of understanding of acting. And I think largely that's because of social media and our globalization, that people are now seeing shows from Korea, American, Netflix. I mean, everybody is watching everything now. So it kind of ups the level. It kind of raises the bar, I think, for everybody. So I think that had a big impact on Turkish theater education. And now the actors on Disney's and films, top quality. Well, I think going back again to Devlet Tiyatro, I think that there's a strong desire for artists to want to tell stories that are kind of mainstream or classical. They want to tell stories that are expressing the current time of our lives. And I think Turks have a lot to say right now. And I think theater is a voice for that. And I think you have a lot of private theaters who aspire to give voice to those kind of issues. Unfortunately, though, there's the economics right now, which make it very difficult for small private theaters to be able to thrive. So I'm hopeful that in the future, maybe there will be more outside support for this, beyond the municipalities and the state theater system, that there could be more financial support for these companies, because it's important. You know, being an actor, and that's how I started. I started being an actor. I remember going to auditions and there being a room full of people who looked just like me, and we were auditioning for the same part. So it's not there yet in Turkey, but it's getting there now. It's a lot more competitive. I always tell my students that, you know, when they're here at school, when there's classmates that they work well with together, that they should continue this. They should find ways to work together after school, stay together. I think that's the thing, is everybody, when they graduate theater programs, they feel like lone wolves trying to find their way. But I think if they try to stay together more and build ensembles to do works, I think that's the way. And by the way, if I could lead this into that, at Bilkent, we started the Bilkent International Laboratory Theater, which was just for this reason, was to give a place where graduates can work, do the works that they want to do. And the mission being looking for new Turkish playwrights. And the wonderful thing about Bilkent is that we have a platform to give for that kind of process, to be able to develop plays. We're not a commercial producer, but we can really be developers of new works and, you know, get them up on their feet.